Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger are introducing new biometric passports as they work to further sever ties with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, to form a new Sahel alliance. While the three military-led nations announced their departure from the 15-member bloc in January, and Burkina Faso has already rolled out passports without the ECOWAS logo. Malian junta leader Assimi Goïta confirmed that the new passports, part of the alliance of Sahel states, aim to harmonize travel documents and facilitate global mobility. A shared information channel will also be launched to promote consistent communication among the three countries. Now, ECOWAS has warned that this move could impact the freedom of movement and common market within the region. Well, joining me now is Osita Agbu, who is a professor of international relations and deputy vice chancellor at Bayes University right here in Abuja. Thank you very much for joining us on Newsnight. Well, it does look like these three nations, Niger, Mali, and of course Burkina Faso, they have lived up to their promise to pull out of the regional body, ECOWAS. And all of this, with this planned biometric passports, is happening at a time when ECOWAS leaders, including our own president, President Bola Tinubu, has been trying, to get back these three leaders into the ECOWAS fold. It looks like a point of no return.
Yes, it does seem so. But if you take a long-term perspective on this and the global environment the way it is today, I do not believe it is sustainable in a globalized and globalizing world.
Now, on the part of the three Sahel
On the part of the three
states.
Sahel states, one,
right.
And it's a failure of diplomacy of ECOWAS.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I believe the founding fathers of ECOWAS will be turning in their years when they see what is happening now. That was not the dream. Mauritania left some years ago, and the hope was that ECOWAS will even expand, not be constrained. And now we are losing three members, so it seems. There are a lot of dynamics, even within the countries. But it's because also of the kinds of problems that we have faced in ECOWAS, in West Africa, especially in the Sahel. The Sahel has been a hotbed of terrorism, banditry, insurgencies, and challenges against the Malian state for a long time, as you can see. And the failure of so-called democratic governments to be able to rein in all these problems. And so the military guys came in and they believe they can do a better job of it. But
have they done a better job of it?
Well, they have just come. I mean, that's what I'm saying. That in the short term, it is possible you give them the benefit of the doubt to see what they would do. But in the long term, it is not sustainable in a globalizing world.
Why do you say it's not sustainable?
It is not sustainable because the citizens of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, they are not living on an island. Even if they do change their passports, reading Burkinabe passport or whatever, they still have to interact globally with everybody. Even within the West African sub-region, they still have to move, they still have to trade with other members of ECOWAS. So will that help them? Is it not better, assuming they still had ECOWAS passport, for them to have more visibility and more mobility?
With the free movement they used to have within the
So that is what I'm
region.
saying. In the short term, what needs to be done is for ECOWAS to continue to broker diplomacy and see how the AES, since they're already there, they're already out, so to say, how they can be integrated, still be integrated into the ECOWAS framework. Yes, states can form special alliances.
Going back to what it used to be within ECOWAS, or a different kind of arrangement?
Yeah, even if, yes, under the circumstance, because of the steps they have already taken, being brought into ECOWAS in the new mold they are in right now, and still be part of ECOWAS.
Wouldn't that make ECOWAS, that already is looking weak, look even weaker? Because what it means is that ECOWAS is saying, well, we have to accept the situation, the realities in Niger.
Yeah, well,
Burkina
it's not
Faso,
a matter of being
and
weak.
Mali, with a military junta firmly in place.
Yes,
and recall that they are moving away. I mean, the U.S. has done, the complete military withdrawal from Niger.
Yeah.
And they are looking towards Russia.
Yes, a lot of international dynamics also involved in it. But the bigger picture really is about integration in the sub-region. It's about Pan-Africanism. So we can't say because this has happened, then you have to throw the baby away with the bathwater and everything. That's why I said you still keep the diplomatic channels open.
Yeah, but these three countries are saying the original vision of ECOWAS seems to be lost, and that the region at best really has not protected the interests of these countries, especially these francophone, Sahel nations. And that's part of the reason why they pulled out of the group.
I don't really think so. ECOWAS has tried within its capacity to address some of those issues, including terrorism in the sub-region, through its various protocols, as you know. And they talk about having a standby force to assist. These countries are not the only countries facing that kind of problem. Other countries in West Africa are also facing that. But they have experienced what they have experienced and believe they want to take a different route to addressing it.
Yeah, they're saying they want, the return of the cultural African values and to move away from foreign interference. That's the reason they're giving for this latest move.
Like I said, it's neither here or there. Foreign interference, embracing Russia, isn't that an interference too?
There you go.
There you go. So it goes round. That's why I'm saying I don't want us to look at what has happened as we are the true ECOWAS, and these are the new alliance for Sahel states. No. I still want to believe that our statesmen can look at the issue with the eye of an integrative place, a Pan-Africanist mindset, so that you don't put a divide between the peoples of Africa. ECOWAS says it wants to aspire to an ECOWAS of what? ECOWAS of peoples.
Yeah.
Not an ECOWAS of states, because it recognizes the diversity of peoples in West Africa, who should be free to move, trade.
In and out.
In and out. So let's not be too strict about drawing a line between what has happened and where we are, but only try to see how we can still, if you can't get them in, completely in where we used to be, how that can be accommodated within what we have for now.
What do you think what are the implications really of this move by these three countries?
It has,
especially for security, within the
region. Regional stability. It has implications for them being military governments. The Alliance for Sahel States. Probably the expectation is that we're probably going to see them make more impact in addressing the security problems and concerns they have in that area in the short term. But in the long term too, you find out that it has implications for the whole region, sub-region, because West Africa is what we call a security complex.
In what way?
When one part of West Africa has a problem, there's a tendency that it's going to spill over into. So to address
which is what we're saying.
Yes. So to address, you have to address it holistically.
Now, how do you
it's not by separating yourself to say you think if you solve the terrorism problem in Nigeria, it will be solved, and you don't solve that in Niger, and you don't solve that in Chad, and you don't. It's a security complex, and that is where ECOWAS was and where ECOWAS comes in. You need to have a bigger picture and a bigger solution to the whole region. So it's not by separating yourself and you think if you manage it within your own state, then you will never experience insurgency or terrorism. So that's why I said in the short term, yes, there may be an impact, but in the longer period, you find out that regional security and stability is undermined.
Don't you think part of the longer term that may convince these countries that have lost confidence in ECOWAS would be for ECOWAS nations themselves to strengthen democratic principles, democratic ethos, democratic culture, and institutions within the region, that in a way that it can engender some level of confidence in this breakaway states?
You're absolutely correct. In the longer term, that is the expectation and that is the vision. And that's why we have the ECOWAS protocol on democracy. Yes, to encourage countries to democratize and to be democratic and to respect human rights, transparency, etc., which they do monitor from time to time. But like I said, it's unfortunate that what has happened in those 3 countries. And this is the way they are going. Like I said, I believe it is not sustainable. Yes, for now, in the short term, they may be making some impact, but in the longer term, it is not sustainable.
Yeah, I did ask you why you think it's
something else happens and somebody wakes up in Mali or in Burkina Faso or in Niger and decides to overthrow the government and has a different vision of what should be done, what happens?
Right.
So what is sustainable is what you have said.
Now, the West African leaders, they've responded saying, look, if you go with your passport and what have you, to make it more difficult for you to move freely within the region. Should that be the primary reaction? How should the West African leaders be responding to this now?
Well, I think what is happening is the Alliance of the Sahel states, they seem to have dug in,
right,
and trying to assert their positions and trying to say that we don't like to be dictated to.
Yeah.
That's it. But the wider ECOWAS community, like I said, we still should not draw a very strict line between them and us.
Right.
We should still keep the windows of diplomacy, of dialogue open, because these are our brothers, these are our sisters. And the more you have a division within your ranks, then the more external forces will be able to come in and
do you think the sanctions were counterproductive?
The sanctions, their major reaction, I don't want to believe, were just as a result of the sanctions, but because of the threat.
Right.
It was the threat of military intervention that made them to dig in.
Yeah.
But in the long run, of course, the sanctions will have some impact. But they never even allowed the sanctions to take before what happened. So
Osita Agbu, Professor of International Relations, Bayes University, right here in Abuja, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
for joining us on Newsnight.